this last video, I'm going to be discussing some other notable enhancements. Most of them are smaller size. A few of them are slightly bigger than others, but we'll just kind of pick away at them, and I'll go pretty fast here, I think. The first thing that I want to show are notable agency default settings. So under the admin panel, you have the agency setup. Then under your agencies, open that up. On the view page, you'll see some default settings down here. You'll see default partition and default address area map. Let's edit this. So you have three things here, and this checkbox. So let's start from the bottom. We have the default address area map. If I want to have, say, anytime that I add a new address to any other record, I want it to default to a particular area. Say I want every single time someone opens a new address, I want it to default to this view for some reason. If I rearrange my map to be like this, or let's do something a little more obvious. There, Rose Hill Cemetery. I'm going to rearrange my map to be like this, and then when I save my record, it's going to default to this map view anytime I add a new record with a map. The same is going to apply for this checkbox here. By default, it's going to use the agency city and state for the new address. So you have the city here and the state right there. However, if maybe I want to use a different default city for my address, I can type in, let's say, Nymont, North Dakota. So now anytime that I add an address, it'll default to Nymont, North Dakota, and it will give you a default address area map showing this Rose Hill Cemetery. And then finally, with the agency default settings, we have the default partition. So I can choose to say that any record that I create, I want to default within a particular partition. And not just me, any record that anybody within my agency creates. So I'm going to say this admin default partition, and I'm going to save and close. So your agency can specify what your default partition is going to be for any new record that you create. However, individual users and admins can choose settings for each individual user as well. So I can say, if I'm Barney Miller, I want my default partition to be test user actually, and that will override the admin setting. So keep that in mind, is that individual users are able to edit their own default partition, and they can override the admin setting. They can always go into their profile up here and edit their default partition. So let's take a look at what these three changes will do when I create a new incident. We'll add an incident. And first you can see my partition defaulted to admin. My city defaulted to Nymont, North Dakota. If I open the map, it defaults to Rose Hill Cemetery. The next thing I want to discuss is the automatic place search. And this is a perfect place to do it because we need to be on an address field. So I'm going to grab something there. Now, normally you would have a search places checkbox up here. You switch this, you check it, and then the address field switches over to a drop-down containing all of the places within your system. You don't have to do that anymore. Now all you have to do is type in a place in this address field directly. I added Burger Place. I'm going to type that in. Then I'll get a drop-down listing possible matches, maybe of streets or something, Burger PL, or I'll get various place matches, like Burger Place at 1223 West Elm Street, or Burger Place at 456 North State Street. I say, okay, actually this is the one that I want. Click on that. It's going to give you your place name up top, and then it's going to fill in the rest of the address and also do the map pin, assuming the address is pinned. This applies to every single address field within the system, including those on CAD. Next thing I was going to show you is the focus map on my location, but I believe I showed that in a previous video. Real quick though, just click on that, focuses the map right on your location. Short and sweet. After that, we have some search page information, some search page changes, that is. I don't need to save this record. So on the search pages, any free text field let's go to one that's better. Any free text field Instead of searching for an exact match by default, we are now going to be searching for a contains match by default is what we're calling it. So for example, under address, you can see that there's South Madison Street down here. Well, if I go to address and type Madison, or just Mad, and search, I'll find all the Madison streets. Previously to this release, if you search for Mad, it would not find anything. We required you to use asterisks to actually find the record. However, if I go over and search for Mad with our new exact match option, it won't come up with anything. This is because it's searching exactly for that address. Now, this could be useful in, say, first name or last name you want to search for. I know his first name is Bob. I don't need to have anything else. I just can exact match Bob. Or you can just say, I know it contains a B in it. So I can search for it. It'll find Bob, it'll find Bill, it'll find Robbie, that sort of thing. And the last of the more notable enhancements that I wanted to talk about was the All tab on Dispatch. Go over to CAD, and on the Dispatch page, normally you just have Law, Fire, EMS, and MISC. I can switch between them and see my different units. Well, but we've now added an All tab, which shows all of your units all at once. So your Law type, your EMS, and your Fire types, and your MISC types, all of them will be listed right here in order. That's it for the more notable enhancements. There's a handful of quick hitters that I'm just going to mention that I can't really show as easily. The first one is a darker night mode. I can switch over to that. I don't know if you'll notice a difference just watching the video, but the night mode is significantly darker. We've removed most of anything that was bright at all, except for various alerts and that sort of thing. We also have the drop-down search field. Switch back to day mode. The drop-down search fields will now contain expired values. So if, say, for example, you have expired some natures on incidents, but you have previously used those natures, well, it'll actually show those expired natures in the nature drop-down on the search page, so you can still search for those expired natures. We've added vehicle as a defendant on citations. So now anytime you are adding a citation to an incident or a traffic stop, you can choose a vehicle as the offender. This is in case, say, you want to do a parking citation, or there's a car stopped where it shouldn't be, or you have no idea who the owner might be. You can write a citation that ties to the vehicle itself rather than a particular person. Along those lines, we've also made citation type a customizable code table. So instead of just having the options of written citation and verbal warning, you now have the ability to customize your citations and add as many as you'd like. There are a couple new defaults in there. I think parking is one, and I think there's one other new default as well. Next, we have zip files are now accepted attachment types. So on any record, you're able to add a zip file as an attachment type. Previously, it wouldn't let you do that. CAD, how received, now defaults to the top option on the code table instead of 911 dispatch. So if I add a new call, my how received right now is 911 dispatch. If I go over to the code tables and I search for modules affected CAD, I'll just say how received. I'm going to customize this. Let's say I want just generic telephone to be at the top of my list. I'm going to do that. Press save and close. I'm going to return to my dispatch screen. And now when I make a new call, it's going to dispatch to telephone as how received because that's what's on the top of my list. And then last but not least, we added workflow on CFS records, so they're no longer just on incidents. And that's everything that I wanted to cover with you. Thanks for watching.